The Uncharted series has always been one of the most beloved PlayStation franchises because the adventures of Nathan Drake are so ridiculously realistic in their own way. Like, it's true that you and I probably aren't going to be going through crumbling crypts and searching for lost treasure, but it's stuff that feels like it could probably happen, except for the fact that it's just turned up to 11. Crazy gunfights, huge exploration, and basically some of the greatest graphics ever put onto a Sony system. But now, with the Legacy of Theives collection, they're trying to take things one step further by combining the final stories that we got from the Uncharted Legacy and now basically bumping up their graphics, making them more beautiful than they have ever been, and adding some additional features to the PlayStation 5 that I want to take a look at today. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Now, let me be clear, I really like both of these games. I've reviewed them in the past, but neither of them is quite a 10 out of 10 experience. I do feel like there is tiny flaws to the pacing and puzzles that make them not quite as flawless as some of the more previous games like Uncharted 2. But in this collection you're getting Uncharted 4 and Uncharted The Lost Legacy. Now in both of these games they are very expansive, crazy games. Like straight up when it comes to the explosions, disarming people, trying to get lost in huge tombs and stuff, I really love them. My interest with this project, this remaster of sorts, is basically how much can they technologically push the envelope because already things looked so good. Now here's the weird part of all this, which is that this video you're watching right now is in 4K 60 frames a second, but this was actually already in 4K. These were 4K experiences even on the PlayStation 4 Pro. So instead, what they've had to do instead of just bumping up basically the resolution itself, they've had to do some more technical tweaks to make it a more impressive adventure. And it definitely works. Now, I want to talk about each of the different features of it and see what's definitely a big improvement. But real quick, before we do that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Magic Spoon. I know a lot of us are trying to make some good New Year's resolutions to basically be healthier in 2022 and lose some weight, and part of that comes down to starting your day right, which is why I eat some very delicious Magic Spoon. This is health cereal that really is impressive. It's 170 calories per serving, it's got 0 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 14 grams of protein, but most importantly, it tastes delicious. Look, if you have some good health food but it tastes bad, you're probably not going to go back for seconds. This stuff is delicious. Now, it comes in a bunch of different flavors like chocolate, fruity. This one right here is peanut butter, which is my personal favorite. I have so much of it that even now my friends have been picking it up. But if you want to try it for yourself, you can use coupon code DCG2021. There's going to be a link to it in the description below if you want to try it. It's really good, and seriously, you will not regret it. They even have a money-back guarantee that if you eat it and it doesn't seem like it's for you, they will give you 100% of your money back. So be sure to try it out with code DCG2021. But now, let's get back to the big adventure. If I was forced to describe this Legacy of Thieves collection with a single word, it would definitely be the word options, because these are games, both Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, that have very gorgeous open environments, chance for you to climb around on rocks, take down targets, and while you're doing all of this, it feels very freeform. It almost feels like dancing in a way. One of the major insults I've heard people try and say about the Uncharted series is that they're interactive movies. People try and slander them in a way and act like this is somehow a detriment to the fact that it is almost this poetry in motion with these crazy sceneries, these open scopes and chance where you can like disarm somebody and shoot them with their own gun. They're games that are very much about the presentation. So in this, I want to talk about the different modes that now exist in this, because there's 3 of them and they are very vastly different. Now the 3 different modes are called Fidelity Mode, Performance Mode, and Performance Plus Mode. Now each of these basically increase the frame rates while reducing the resolution. In Standard Fidelity Mode, this is the mode where it runs in 4K and it looks completely insane, but it does look like it's at a locked 30 frames a second. Now, what's interesting about this is that I decided to play huge chunks of this game in the performance mode, and I wanted to see that 60 frames a second, which looked really nice. But even in fidelity, while seeing the game at 30 frames a second, I have to say that it feels like they've done more than just upgrade the quality of the resolution. These games already ran very well in 30 frames a second in the past. It feels like they've done something to upgrade the character models, the lighting effects, and the environments to a small degree. On PlayStation 5, there are times where this practically looks like real life. Like, I've played a lot of very beautiful games. I've played a lot of stuff that manages to be big and breathtaking. This takes the cake. This is some of the best graphics I have ever seen in my life. Like, even doing a quick side-by-side comparison where you can see the original version of the game and now this upgrade, things have definitely been tweaked to be more glorious. But more than that, let's talk about the performance mode and the performance plus mode. Now, this is where things I feel like are going to be more interesting for people who enjoy frame rate, which I'm definitely coming around on. Now that I've been having this nice gaming PC, which allows me to render these videos with cool green screen and stuff like that, I've been playing more games 100 frames a second and over. Having a chance to play the Uncharted games now at 120 frames a second, which is performance plus mode, it is a smoothness that defies explanation. Like, straight up, it is a fluidness that is very, very almost unnerving at times. Having somebody rush you or try to do a quick time event and throw an enemy off a cliff or something like that, it is kind of insane just how much they managed to pack in a very, very deep and realistic sense of quality to this picture. Now, again, in performance mode and performance plus mode, this is the 60 frames a second and the 120 frames a second modes. Both of these are both 1080p. These do not go anywhere close to 4K, but you know what? I think a lot of people are probably going to take this. I think there is a big chunk of the audience that would rather see these games look even more fluid because they're treating them as interactive films instead of just having the craziest, crispest, biggest visuals possible. Now, if you're playing this on a big TV, I do think that the 4K resolution is much more noticeable. Now, the other technical aspects of what they've managed to achieve here are things that are a bit harder to show you, so I want to try and do my best to describe them. Now, these are PlayStation 5 features that are very much the wave of the future. If you have a PlayStation 5, these are probably the little tweaks and changes we're going to see in a lot of games going forward. Part of it is haptic triggers. Now, anybody who has a PlayStation 5 knows this, but there are actually these tiny gears inside your controller that make it where there is a resistance that is optional. So basically, if you're doing things like during the course of this game, sometimes when you're swinging around on ropes, you'll feel it. Different guns actually feel different from the pushback. Like a machine gun or throwing a grenade or pulling the trigger of a pistol feels different on the way you're pulling the trigger. And it's something that is kind of nice. It increases the immersion. It's not the biggest game changer or something that I feel like is going to revolutionize gaming, but the more I feel these games that have these subtle additional efforts, I kind of appreciate that. The part of this game that definitely impressed me the most, though, simply because I didn't expect it to be so crazy, is the freaking new 3D audio they've added into this. Okay, so 3D audio, a very new style of technology, but it basically works with any pair of headphones. You plug in some high quality headphones directly into your controller, and what this does is it makes it where when you're playing the game, it more properly simulates the actual way that sound hits the ear, which means that if somebody's trying to sneak up behind you or a random bullet ricochets off something nearby, it simulates that much more realistically. Now, in general, 3D audio is fantastic, but where this is most insane to me is times when you're like doing the underwater swimming mission. Hearing the splash, the realistic flow of waves inside of your ear, or those times where you're inside of a tomb and there's two characters talking to each other and the echoes of the voice sound like they're coming from behind you or from in front of you. Like, 3D audio is something that is very much winning me over. Like, I'm kind of impressed about the fact that they managed to do something that feels so revolutionary, but it's weird that it's not just about resolution. It's not just about frame rate. It's really kind of proving to me that sound is a separate and important quality to every single game. Now, the last thing they've added is something that seems tiny, but is freaking great. There's no load times. Now, if you've been playing a lot of games with solid state drives, you are probably used to this, myself included. The original versions of these games, both Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, took 30 seconds to load every single checkpoint. 30 seconds even on a PlayStation 5. Even with the current solid state using backwards compatibility, it took 30 seconds at a minimum. Some areas, if you're playing it on a PlayStation 4 Pro, could take a minute to load. Now, when you're talking about big chase scenes or trying to do stuff like if you're replaying the Crash Bandicoot level again and again, running into those minute-long freaking load screens were such a vibe killer. Every load screen now just lasts 3 seconds. 3. Like, the amount of upgrade to the visual quality here is just, it's so impressive. I don't know what they had to do to frickin' sell their souls to the devil to make this possible, but straight up, this is a fantastic port. There is a bit of the weirdness about the fact that this is almost paying for a patch. I do still feel a little bit weird about the idea of like, this game already exists, it's already in 4K, but you're paying to have these extra little tweaks and changes. But as somebody that has bought the PS5 upgrade, I really, really enjoy it. If you own Uncharted 4 or you own Lost Legacy, it just costs $10 to upgrade to the Legacy of Theives Collection. Absolutely do it. You will not regret it. It is seriously that good. Check it out, enjoy it, play it, run around. This is the best that the world is ever going to look, and it's going to blow your mind as much as it blew mine. But what do you think about all this? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you love Uncharted and you want an Uncharted 5, talk to me in the comments. I'd love to read about it. And please, if you could, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.